He didn't need superpowers to become terrifying. Those came later. Let's jump into the video and find out who is Tombstone. Lonnie Thompson Lincoln entered the world in Harlem under the shadow of albinism, a condition that bleached every trace of pigment from his skin and made him a target from the moment he could walk. His whisper-thin voice, strained by damaged vocal cords, only deepened the sense that he didn't belong. Children bullied him, teachers pitied him, and the only person who treated him with anything resembling humanity was a young aspiring reporter named Joe Robertson. Lonnie mistook that simple kindness for friendship, clinging to it as the one warm thing in an otherwise cold childhood. Determined to compensate for the way he looked, he pushed his body relentlessly, building himself into a hulking figure who soon learned that strength could command the respect he had been denied. By high school, he had become the school's quiet terror, extorting classmates, intimidating teachers, and earning the morbid nickname of Tombstone. When he discovered that Robertson was writing an expose on his bullying, Lonnie felt a sting of betrayal. He cornered Robbie and told Robbie to make the story go away. And a scared Robbie did just that and withdrew his article. 8 years later, Tombstone had transformed into a feared mob enforcer in Philadelphia, leaving a trail of bodies and unsolved cases behind him. Robertson, now a reporter at the Philadelphia Inquirer, crossed paths with Tombstone again when an informant named Isidore Hipper tried to expose the murder of crime boss Ozzie Montana. Robbie arrived at the meeting point only to find Tombstone waiting with Hipper's corpse. Tombstone then mocked him with the same whisper that had haunted his youth. Because of the twisted, one-sided friendship, Tombstone spared Robbie. He later taunted him over the phone until Robbie fled back to New York with his wife, eventually rising to prominence at the Daily Bugle. Meanwhile, Tombstone's legend only grew. Witnesses vanished, juries folded, and every arrest dissolved into nothing. Somewhere along the way, he even had time to become a father. His daughter Janice took after him, and Lonnie, proud in his own warped way, funded her education so she could exploit the law instead of break it. But Janice wanted something grander, something theatrical. She reinvented herself as the Beetle, a costumed criminal who made even her father shake his head in exasperated disbelief. More than 20 years after Hipper's murder, Tombstone returned to New York under the arranger's employment and forcibly recruited the mutant Roland Rayburn, later known as the Persuader. When Robertson spotted Tombstone in a car, the old guilt surged back. Every life Tombstone had taken felt like a debt Robbie owed. Before confronting Tombstone, Robbie recorded a confession detailing their shared history and entrusted it to Peter Parker. When Robbie did finally face Tombstone, he panicked and fired a gun at him. Tombstone responded by crushing Robbie in a bear hug that nearly snapped his spine, stopping short of killing him only because of that lingering delusional sense of friendship. Tombstone would find out about the tape, and to retrieve it, Tombstone threatened Mary Jane Watson and lured Peter Parker to Atlanta. Tombstone was defeated by Spider-Man in Atlanta and was arrested and taken into custody. This time, Robbie agreed to testify. However, he implicated himself as an accessory to Hipper's murder, and both men were sent to Lewisburg Federal Penitentiary. Tombstone by design, Robbie by consequence. Inside Lewisburg, Tombstone made Robbie's life a waking nightmare, though a massive inmate known as Bruiser briefly shielded him. That protection ended when Tombstone and his crew ambushed Bruiser and beat him to death. With Robbie isolated, Tombstone forced him to summon Spider-Man and drug the hero when he showed. Tombstone then chained the drugged Spider-Man to a wall, beat him, and later used him as a hostage during a daring helicopter escape. While being used as a hostage, Spider-Man regained enough strength to break free of the chains restraining him. Tombstone fled to the helicopter, taking Robbie with him. When Spider-Man clung to the helicopter, Tombstone kicked at him from above, until Robbie finally broke free of his lifelong fear and tackled Tombstone out of the helicopter. They both miraculously survived the fall, washing up near a farm of an Amish man named Aaron DeWeese, who sheltered them for weeks. When Robbie was healed, Tombstone demanded a reckoning. Robbie fought back with a pitchfork, stabbing Tombstone in his chest. The wound wasn't fatal, but the emotional blow was. Tombstone staggered away, feeling betrayed by the only person he had ever considered a friend. Back in Manhattan, Tombstone joined Hammerhead's organization, but when Hammerhead hired the Hobgoblin to kill Robertson, Tombstone secretly sabotaged the hit to make sure no one would kill Robbie but him. Eventually, Tombstone lured Robbie to a chemical plant to finish the job, but Robbie trapped him in a chamber filled with Diox 3 gas. The mutagenic fumes rewrote Tombstone's biology, turning his skin into stone-cold armor and amplifying his strength, speed, and durability. Grateful for the unintended gift, he called off his vendetta and then seized control of Hammerhead's operations. Shortly after, Hammerhead retaliated, and an explosion sent Tombstone fleeing into the shadows. With his reputation damaged, his hunger for power drove him to attack Darkhawk and rip the amulet from his chest, nearly killing him. But Tombstone was unable to activate the amulet. He sought the help of a psychic to try and find out the secret of activating the amulet. Darkhawk caught up to Tombstone at the psychics and the two battled. Darkhawk defeated Tombstone and reclaimed his amulet. Tombstone later tried to obtain a seat on the Council of Bosses. He was told that if he killed Spider-Man, he would be given a seat. He battled Spider-Man and the battle spilled into the East River. Tombstone emerged from the river with Spider-Man's mask, thinking that he was dead. He then returned to the council with the mask to claim his seat, only to be questioned and told he was lying and wouldn't be given a seat. Tombstone lost his cool, and the meeting turned violent. He began clobbering the other crime bosses. That's when Spider-Man arrived. Spider-Man once again defeated Tombstone, and he was back off to prison. Tombstone's mutated physiology, born from the exposure to the chemical Diox 3, grants him superhuman abilities. His strength allows him to lift roughly 6 tons, while his enhanced reflexes, stamina, and near-diamond-hard skin make him a tank in close-quarters combat. He's bulletproof, highly resistant to electricity, and can withstand extreme temperatures without injury. Even without his powers, Lonnie Lincoln is a brutal street-trained brawler, skilled with firearms and infamous for his preferred techniques of strangulation and neck-breaking. His sharpened, filed-to-the-point teeth only add to his intimidation factor. Well, that's the origin of the Marvel character Tombstone. Now let's make this video bulletproof just like Tombstone. Please leave a like, drop a comment, and consider subscribing. And if you're watching on your phone, hit the hype button and help this thing go viral. That does it for this one. Thanks for watching. Peace.